back to Plum Pantry. I'm Alicia if you're new here, and today we are making some delicious strawberry recipes. Now, some of these are strawberries from my own garden. Some of them are from a farm stand I really like to visit over in Virginia. It's like an hour and a half from my house, but it is so worth the drive. In fact, my daughters want to go there on the last day of school. They got really early. We have a tradition of getting donuts, and I was like, hey, do you want to go over to Man Farms and after donuts? And they were like, yes, please. So got a bunch there. I'll be getting some more. These are, today I'm going to take my tops today to make some strawberry vinegar. I probably won't need them all, but the rest will just go to the chickens. So today I have 7 recipes in mind. I don't know that I have enough strawberries to get through them all, so we'll get them started. One recipe does use frozen ones. I do have some frozen ones in my freezer from last year's batch that we'll be using for that, so hopefully this stretches enough. But I have a lot of strawberries. They are washed. I'm getting them topped and ready to use. And I just wanted to point out real quick that I do have some other strawberry recipes that I'm not going to be doing today, but that I've already done if you want to access them. Over on my blog, I have a roasted balsamic strawberry ice cream pie. Really delicious. Sounds like a weird combination. It's really delicious. It's a favorite. You don't have to have an ice cream maker. It is not hard. You do need a springform pan for it. That's one of those pans you bake a cheesecake in that you can undo the sides so that you can get your slices out without having to like dig down for them. So you do need a springform pan. You don't need an ice cream maker. It's actually really simple to make, and it's really, really good. I will link that recipe for you below if you're interested in that. There is also, I have also done strawberry videos before, and I will link those down below. Usually in my description box, I have a little thing that says other videos you might be interested in, and I handpick those per video. I don't have like the same ones I put every time. And so I will put in there some other videos I've done. I know that I have a strawberry jam. I know not that long ago, I think in March Canning Madness, I made strawberry ice cream topping. I have another day where I got a ton of strawberries, way more than this, from a fundraiser, and I processed those. And strawberry lemonade concentrate, a canning recipe. I've also done a video on that, so I will link all those videos below if you're interested in one of those. Today though, we're making recipes, not canning stuff, not just processing like freezing, freeze drying and stuff. We are making some good things. I've got some desserts, I've got some drinks, I've got some breakfast. It's gonna be yummy. I'm almost done with these, and when I get them finished, what I'm gonna start with, I've got my oven. I thought I had my oven on, I didn't, hold on. I'm putting it at 425 to roast a couple strawberries. So I need the oven for just a few things today, and so I am gonna get some strawberries roasted so that they have time to cool, because those are gonna go into a roasted strawberry smoothie bowl, which of course you can do without roasting them, but I think roasting them does amazing things to the flavor and to the smoothie bowl and gives it like a depth and complexity it doesn't normally have. And it also kind of concentrates the sugar, so you don't have to put as much sweetener into the smoothie bowl. So there's that. All right, I'm gonna set these tops aside for the strawberry vinegar. I've got my notes here. I try to like organize the order of steps for myself. So 425 is what I just did the oven on for roasting strawberries. I'm gonna get out a little dish. They don't need anything on, you just put strawberries straight in. I'm gonna do a few cups. All of these recipes I'm doing today, I will either link to a printable recipe if I got it like somebody else's. I'm chopping these, by the way, not super small, but enough. I'm gonna go for between 2 and 3 cups of strawberries for this. But all these recipes I will link if there's a printable recipe either from my blog or from somebody else's where I got it, or I will type out the recipe below if there is not a link for it, if there's not a recipe for it floating around. Not my recipe anyways. I'm just putting, I don't have this sprayed with any non-stick thing. I don't have it lined with parchment. I'm just gonna put them in like this. I'm gonna do, I think, I do enough to just cover the bottom, because you do want it in one layer. Also, if you have some strawberries that are like really done, like ripeness, and then you have some that are slightly less, like this one. These are ones I would use in here because, like I said, roasting them brings out the sugar, kind of concentrates it down and makes them sweeter. So I'm gonna get these into the oven for 15 minutes. Okay. I'm gonna start on some strawberry oatmeal breakfast bars. This is a recipe that I will link below. It's not mine. I'm debating doing it slightly different, but I think I'm just gonna stick to that recipe for today. So I'm gonna make a crust starting over with the stand mixer, so I'll bring you over there. Okay, so this is kind of one of those streusel bar recipes that I love. This one, what I was thinking about changing, I really like to bake the bottom of the crust. You know, it's one of those where you make like a crust, you put some of it in the bottom of the pan, you put filling on, and then you crumble the rest of the crust on top, and it makes the topping. Normally, I put it in the bottom of the pan, bake partway, then top, and finish baking it. This recipe does not call for that, so I was thinking about doing it my normal way, but I think I'll just stick to it today. It's good either way. I just like that crispy bottom, that solid bottom, but it's not like it's gooey or doughy or anything like that. So I need butter, flour, oats, honey, brown sugar, and cinnamon for that. Okay, I need 6 tablespoons of butter. It's so humid right now, it is hard not to sweat even inside. We had a crazy storm last night. Crazy, like big hail, wind. My poor chickens, their big tree in the chicken run that gives them shade in the summer, the main branch of it is broken off. It's really, there is some damage outside, some damage to cars, I'm trying to kind of rush this video because not far from me that way is a down power line that is on fire, or there's a fire near it or something like that. So I'm worried I feel lucky that we have power right now. Most of our city doesn't, so I'm excited. Excited that we have power, but I'm trying to get stuff done before the power goes out, if it does. Okay, 6 tablespoons of butter, 1.5 cups of flour. I'm using some einkorn all-purpose flour here. I don't know that I have 1.5 cups of it, and I need more, I think, for the filling too. So I'm gonna use what I have and then fill in with just regular all-purpose flour. The rest is going to be all-purpose flour. Which normally I fluff before I use, but I just emptied this in here like yesterday, so it's been fluffed recently. Keep this out because I think I need it again. I should be wearing an apron. I'm never comfortable in aprons. I always get stuff all over myself while I'm cooking myself, but I always feel like aprons pull on me. Okay, 1.5 cups of oats. I'm using regular rolled oats here. A 1/2 cup of honey. Let me spray my measuring cup. I tend to gravitate towards these recipes that have natural sweeteners like honey and syrup, but I don't always love, the honey can have a strong flavor, and so I don't love it just as a swap all the time in sugar, but in this recipe it's really good. It works well with the strawberries. Okay, 1/4 cup of brown sugar. Brown sugar is always packed. I just kind of press it against the side to pack it. And I do realize I'm still using brown sugar even though I'm using honey too, but it's less because you're using honey. And then some cinnamon. A teaspoon of cinnamon. And a pinch of salt. I do a healthy pinch. You don't have to have a stand mixer. You can do this by hand or with a hand mixer thing. I just like breaking up the butter chunks in the hand mixer, the stand mixer. Okay. Put that in here. Need a pan. Excuse me. You're in my way. I like these pre-done sheets I get from Azure. They're the If You Care brand, which is good for products without like all the bleaches and the weird products in it. Both earth friendly and people friendly. All right, so I'm gonna put the majority of this in the pan. I'm gonna keep out about a cup. I'm just gonna eyeball that. Okay, press this down in. I press it firm, I fill all the gaps. I want it to be solid bar when I take this out. All right, and for the strawberry filling, I need to start with some chopped strawberries. Let me get more of them. And one of the things I liked about this recipe is you don't have to make, like a lot of these types of things make almost like a strawberry syrup or a pie filling type thing, and this is a little more wholesome than that, and I don't have to cook this. This is gonna go straight in as it is. You could of course cook it if you want, but it kind of jams itself, like makes the jam out of itself while it's in there. I'm again eyeballing about 3 cups. I am making mine like maybe dime size-ish chunks. I like it, you can make bigger or smaller. I like having a big enough chunk that it looks like a chunk. You can see the strawberries in it. You get bites of actual strawberry, but I like them small enough that they will all the way soften, release their liquids, and get that little caramelization stuff going on in there. Again, this is a recipe where you could use my roasted strawberries already come out. Recipe where you can use your slightly less ripe ones because we have sweetener in this and it's going in the oven, which is also going to sweeten it up a little bit. So I always kind of try to, I don't really put things out in different bowls, don't separate out my strawberries that way. Actually, I'm gonna leave that one. But I do try to kind of keep that in mind and look at different types while I'm making it. Be like, because you know, sometimes you're disappointed. You open your strawberry container, that all looks beautiful on top and on the bottom, it's not all beautiful. But there are uses for those strawberries that are slightly less ripe. And there are uses for the strawberries that are slightly more ripe. Those are great ones for jam. You could use both for jam, actually. The underripe ones have a little more pectin, and you're adding sweetener to jam. But the mushy ones that haven't gone bad, but they're mushy, are really good for, you don't really want them for freshening or anything you need firmness for. You can make ice cream with those. You can make jam with those. Okay, I think we have about 3 cups now. All right, let's pull out our roasted strawberries. And see, they are just starting to release and juice, and so I'm gonna give them a couple more minutes, which is fine because then they'll be ready about the time I'm ready to swap and put this in. All right, to my strawberries here. Get my recipe. It's been a while since I've made these. I'm going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. Teaspoon of vanilla. I eyeball vanilla. And a teaspoon more flour. I should mention, by the way, if you go looking at this recipe that I linked, it calls for whole wheat flour, and I have used whole wheat. I've used all-purpose. I've used einkorn. I've used fresh ground. It's all been fine. It's very versatile or forgiving in its flour content. So we're tossing this with a little bit of flour just to help it absorb the liquid from the strawberries as it bakes down and releases, because you don't want it to get like runny and mushy. So you have that to absorb that. So I'm going to toss these. Just getting these all mixed together. Okay. And then this goes on top of our flattened crust. Gonna spread it out. I'm going to get the rest of the topping, or the crust, kind of remixed it here. And sprinkle it over the top of the strawberries. This is not, you don't need to cover all of it or have an even covering. You want strawberries peeking out here and there. It's prettier that way. Clumps are perfectly fine. Those are just butter clumps, and that just adds to the beauty when it's done. It just really does. All right, I'm gonna get these in now. And these are going at 350, so I can lower the temperature. I'm gonna take out my roasting strawberries and let them start to cool. Oh, losing my grip. Okay. Get these in. These actually go for 50 minutes, 50. My oven tends to cook hotter. I don't know. When I moved here, this is propane, and I have always cooked with gas, and I feel like it burns slightly hotter. So I'm not sure if it's the propane or if it's just this oven. I have calibrated it, so it should be the same, but it just seems to cook things faster. I'm gonna get out a rack to cool the strawberries away from the stove, just so that they cool down faster. They are not, I'm not looking to brown them, but they are soft to the touch. See, they'll smash underneath my finger, and they're releasing juices. So while that is going cooling, I'm gonna clean up a couple things, and then I'm going to get started on a strawberry frozen yogurt that you're gonna love. It's delicious. You don't have to have an ice cream maker, and you don't even have to wait for it to freeze if you like it in soft serve form like I do. So I'm gonna clean some things up, do some dishes, and then I will see you back probably over here at the blender doing that. Okay, so we're over here. I've got my roasted strawberries cooling, got some dishes washed up. We're gonna do some strawberry frozen yogurt, and this is so easy. And if you like a hard ice cream, you can freeze this after you're done, but it is ready in frozen yogurt, like soft serve type consistency as we make it. And there's very few ingredients, and I love them all. So frozen strawberries, some of the last from my garden last year. I'm not gonna use all of these. Very easy recipe to adapt the amount you make as well. I use about twice as much strawberries as yogurt in mine. So I put a few cups of strawberries in here. If you have a high-powered blender like a Vitamix or something, that's even better. Not too much for this. Making a fairly small batch. And then all of the flavorings, the sweetener I'm using is maple syrup. You can use honey. I'm using vanilla extract. You can use vanilla bean paste as well, and a little bit of lemon juice. And all of that you adjust to taste. So really easy. You don't even really need a recipe for this, but I will write it out below. So I used about 2 cups of strawberries. I'm gonna use about 1 cup of Greek yogurt. You can buy Greek yogurt, obviously. I got this a little bit thick. I forgot it was draining on my counter. I'm gonna keep this out because we're using it for another recipe too. So at this point, how much sweetener you want to add, how much vanilla, and how much, I always like a splash of lemon, and I think it works well with strawberries. Probably like a tablespoon. I'm gonna do a squirt, 2 squirts of vanilla, and I'm gonna go, it's about a 1/4 cup of syrup. I'm gonna adjust that probably. I always start on the less sweet side because I can add more sweetener, and I like to try to go with as little bit as I can get away with and still enjoy it. I keep looking out the window because I'm checking for stray chickens, because in our storm last night, the beautiful huge tree that gave them all their shade in the chicken run, a major branch, like 1/3 of the tree, blew down, and it's on their fence. And when they realize that they can get out, they're gonna be in my garden digging up all the things I just planted. So I keep checking for them because we can't deal with that tree until tomorrow after church. We don't have time today. I could make this go easier by adding liquid, but I want it to be a thicker consistency, less like a smoothie, more like a soft serve. All right, let's check this out. It is definitely thick. It's so good. I could eat like this, but for the rest of my family, I'm gonna add a little bit more syrup. That was like 2 tablespoons more. While I have this open, let me push stuff down. The key to getting this frozen yogurt consistency is to use frozen strawberries. That's all there is to it. Just like when you make an ice cream with frozen bananas or something, you're just using frozen strawberries. And that is pretty perfect. This is the easiest and much more healthy way to enjoy like a sweet ice cream type treat on a hot summer day. Here in the spring, we have hot summer days and cold winter days. Oh, it's just making me crave the hot days. It's so good. Definitely recommend this one. All right, I'm gonna clean this stuff up and we will move on to our next recipe. Okay, so for the next recipe, this is another dessert recipe, and I am gonna do something I love doing, but I'm gonna try it slightly different than I have before. These are strawberry dessert tacos, and I have made them before, but I usually fry these and then sprinkle them with cinnamon and sugar, the tortillas. And then but today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the melted butter and cinnamon sugar on it, and I'm gonna try baking them. I've seen this thing for years and I wanted to try it, and I just never have, where you can just use a muffin tin and you put the tortillas in like this and it shapes them for you. So I'm gonna try doing that today. We'll see how it comes out. When I was researching that, there were lots of different times and temperatures to do it on. So what I'm gonna do is just throw them in at 350 with my strawberry oat breakfast bars that are already in there baking so that they can go right alongside with them. So I'm gonna make my cinnamon and sugar. Have my melted butter over here already. And I don't measure when I'm making cinnamon and sugar. I just go by sight. I like mine heavy on the cinnamon. And so mine will be pretty brown, but if you like barely any cinnamon, do that. Get another plate for my tortillas so I'm not making a mess on the counter, which normally I actually don't mind making a mess, truthfully. Messes are clean upable. I think I don't mind because I used to mind. I think I don't mind because I could never seem to avoid the mess. And so I just have embraced the mess. Okay, I'm gonna do both sides with the cinnamon and sugar. I try sprinkling my fingers. I just want it a little more even and actually a little more light. Let's see, if I do it this way, I might be able to fit 4. I'm just brushing them on both sides with the melted butter. And I did like the sprinkle better than the spoon. Okay. I mean, it looks like it's gonna work well. My tortillas are a little bit stiff. I should have put them in the microwave for like 10 seconds just to soften them up. But it doesn't look like they're stiff enough that they're gonna crack or anything. And I'm assuming that I don't need to spray my pan because there's butter on these. That way, if I get these in with the breakfast bars, they can cool before we put the topping on them, or the filling, the taco filling, which is strawberries and like almost like a cheesecake mix. So I think I'm gonna try these for just like 10 minutes at first and kind of gauge from there. And I'm gonna keep the cinnamon sugar out for, I like to sprinkle a little bit more on it when I make the tacos. So my notes, next, after 2 desserts, we have to be healthy, right? So I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna get this stuff cleaned up, and then we're gonna work on a salad dressing with strawberries. Okay, so for this one, get my knife and stuff here again. Cleaned out my little Ninja. You could, of course, again, use a regular blender, high-speed blender, a food processor even would work for this. This is one of those recipes I'm going to use my ripe strawberries. I want all the sweetness they have to give and all the flavor. I only need about a cup. I mean, if I was making a lot more dressing, I guess I could, but this is a strawberry balsamic vinaigrette, and it is really good. I used to not be in love with fruit dressings. I've come around. I've changed my wayward ways. I'm just gonna use, like I said, about a cup of this. This one looks super delicious. This is a balsamic vinaigrette, and balsamic vinegar in general works well with a lot of fruits. So you can make like a blueberry vinaigrette, you can make a strawberry, raspberry, any really sweet fruit works well with this. Okay, so I'm just gonna use a couple of tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. This is a really good one. I got it from Azure Standard. It is Grand Reserve. It's thick. So I'm gonna take this little pouring thing off. This is the kind, like, it's in the place where you can just drizzle it straight on food and it's sweet and delicious. You can use it in place of a balsamic glaze instead of just balsamic vinegar. I'm gonna go with a couple tablespoons. About 2. We'll leave that off for now. About 3 tablespoons of olive oil. And this is a recipe where you don't have to add a lot of vinegar. The balsamic vinegar is concentrated because the strawberries also have some acid to them. And then a sweetener, just a little bit more maple syrup. And again, we're gonna blitz this to taste and then adjust and see what we like. Okay, let's give it a little. Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's great, right there. And I pre-prepped a little bit of salad. I just have to remember where I put it. My fridge is so full right now because I prepped for meals and lots of things in this video. Okay, I think I want to add, got the main salad here ready. I think I want to add a couple strawberries to it. Maybe just one chopped up really good. And since I'm eating it straight, I want one of my bright red ripe ones. And I think I'm actually going to throw a few almonds on here too. Yeah. And then drizzle this on. This is a good spring and summer salad right here. This also plays well with protein, so if you wanted to throw some chicken in here to up the protein content or something like that. It's just a great balance of sweet, tart, and just other flavor, like the strawberry flavor. I have heard that these also make a good marinade. I have not tried a marinated one. Let me know in the comments if you've tried like a strawberry balsamic marinated chicken or something like that. But I do tend to use a lot of salad dressings that aren't milk or cream based as a marinade as well, so I could see that it would work. This is so good, you guys. This is lunch as soon as I'm done with this video. I am so annoyed, you guys. I don't know what just happened. I just made this smoothie bowl and my camera wasn't recording, which it had been. Like, I moved it, it was recording, and then suddenly it stopped when I made it. So here's how I made the smoothie bowl. It was really easy. I took some strawberries, the roasted strawberries from here. I was like, I didn't use those. The roasted strawberries that I put in the oven, they're completely cool. Put them in my blender, my little Ninja, with one frozen banana, and that is where I get the smoothie consistency from the frozen banana, and also where it gets like the creaminess and some sweetness for the smoothie part. And I also added in a tiny bit of almond milk just to get it going, because the frozen banana sometimes just gets jammed up in there, so I had to thin it out a tiny bit. And then I added a little bit, like 1 or 2 teaspoons of syrup after I tasted it to see if it needed some sweetness. So it was super fast. Roasting the strawberries is the only thing, and you can do that ahead of time, by the way, if you want. And then I just topped mine with some blueberries, some almonds, some mini chocolate chips, and some hemp hearts. I do know a lot of people like putting chia seeds on their smoothie bowls. I love the way it looks. I love the crunch. I don't love chia seeds. It's not a flavor thing. It's that coating that becomes slimy. I can't stand that. But that's what makes chia pudding the way it is. I'm just not a fan of that. I do love it. If you like chia seeds, all the more power to you. You can use any fruit that's in season. Nuts, coconut shreds, chocolate, whatever. There's a lot of things that can go in a smoothie bowl. If you just Googled smoothie bowls, you'd see lots of topping ideas. But this one I like has a minimal, really the chocolate chips are the only thing that's bad in here. This is also dairy-free if you are dairy-free, because I used almond milk, but you can use whatever kind of milk you want. And that is the roasted strawberry smoothie bowl. I'm sorry about that lost footage. It kind of makes me really angry, but this is so good. I really think roasting the strawberries brings out an extra depth of flavor that I love. I almost hate to mess it up, but I do like to make beautiful food. This could be breakfast or dessert. Get some blueberries in here. I love the pictures you see where the berries are frosted, but that's because they're frozen and I don't want to eat them that way in the smoothie bowl. I want them soft enough to just bite. Maybe this will be my lunch after this instead of the salad. Maybe smoothie and a salad. We'll see. This is really good though. All right, trying to move on. So for the next recipe, I'm gonna need some chopped strawberries. I'm gonna get them started ahead of time. Let me get a smaller bowl here. This is for a drink, and these strawberries need to sit in sugar and macerate, so I'm gonna get them started before we move on to something else, and then we'll come back to this. This is like a little strawberry cocktail, kind of inspired by a mimosa, but a mimosa is like orange juice and champagne. This is gonna be strawberries and Prosecco. I'm not a big fan of champagne, so I'm gonna use Prosecco in this, but I need to get these in some sugar, macerating, which just means like it's breaking down. I'm gonna go with about a cup here. Again, this is not something that you really have to measure. Just gonna put like a couple spoonfuls on here, toss it around, and we're just gonna let it sit for at least 15 minutes. It can go like up to an hour if you need. And while that is doing that, we're gonna go ahead back over to my stand mixer. And get this back out again, and we are gonna finish the filling for those strawberry dessert tacos. Rinse this off. I need to rinse this a little better. Okay, I have had this cream cheese sitting out getting soft since we started, so it is ready to go. And I'm gonna add just a couple of tablespoons of yogurt to this. It helps kind of lighten it up and gives it a little bit of a tang. Not too much. Okay, I'm just gonna beat this until it's light and fluffy is what I'm looking for, and then I'm gonna add a few more things to it. point, this is one of those things that you do to taste. So again, vanilla, you could use vanilla bean, vanilla paste, whatever. I'm gonna do a little bit of powdered sugar. Probably like one heaping, this is a tablespoon, is enough. I can always taste it and add more. And this is completely optional. You don't have to change any other measurements or anything, ingredients if you don't use it, and that is cocoa powder. I'm gonna make this a chocolate strawberry filling type thing. I'm gonna do about the same amount like that, like a tablespoon. I'm resting my spoon over on my tortilla shells here. Did come out crispy. They kind of changed shape. I'll show you back at the counter, but they are crispy. They do look good. So that was a win. That worked. All right, let's get this mixed and we'll taste and adjust. Some days I can go with a little less sweetener. Some days I need a little more. Okay, so taste it. That's good. I'm gonna add a little more sugar. Because that's really not sweet at all, even with that big heaping thing. So I'm gonna add a second one. I haven't made these in a long time and I don't remember how much I used to put in them. But the chocolate is new. I didn't used to put chocolate in it. It was just a today idea. That is better. Okay. What I'm gonna do now is, don't know how well you can see this. See how thick that is? That's fine, but my preference is just slightly fluffier. So I'm gonna add just like a tablespoon or two of almond milk. And you can use any milk. I just happen to have almond milk sitting on my counter already from previous recipes. I've got cream cheese in here. It's obviously not a dairy-free recipe. I don't want this liquidy, so I'm not adding too much. Just adding enough to kind of fluff it a bit. Starting slow because I don't want it splashing everywhere. Okay, yeah. That is a little bit fluffier. All right, this is gonna be awesome. We can assemble some tacos now. So this is how the shells came out. See how they kind of changed shape in that they kind of folded into those gaps between the muffin cups, but that is actually fine. I will say the butter did kind of concentrate down the middle, but is crispy down there. These are nice and crispy. So I think that this worked out well. I hate frying them. It's just so messy to fry. So I like having this option. I've also seen the option where you just lay them across the grates on your oven. And I would have done that. I would have tried that one because it would be a little more even. Except that I had another thing in the oven because I want to put a tray on the bottom shelf and do that on the top shelf. And that's just not my oven situation today. So what I'm going to do is get a taco shell and some of this, spread it all along the bottom. You could use a piping bag if you want it to be all pretty. I'm not fancy like that. Okay. I'm gonna put some chopped strawberry on top of that. And I like to get a lot of strawberry in there. Okay. And then, see, these do still have enough of a base that they stand up straight on their own. That's cool. So remember I had a little bit of the cinnamon sugar from the tortillas. I'm just gonna sprinkle some of that on the top. You could, if you want to be really lazy, you wouldn't have to make the filling. You could just like use whipped cream or Cool Whip or something. But cheers. I forgot how much I like these. Why has it been so long since I made them? Especially now that I don't have to fry those. It's going to be on the regular every strawberry season now. They are not something that you can eat without making a mess, just forewarning you. Unless you didn't want to do the crispy tacos, you could just do the soft taco and then it'd be a little easier. It's been so long since I made those that I don't know if my kids remember them. So it'd be fun if it felt new to them, right? Okay. I'm counting down here. We're almost done. First off, let's taste. Yeah, these are still hot. I was gonna say, let's taste the breakfast bars. Here's how they come out. They're looking great. I'm just gonna let them cool a little bit more. And while they're doing that, we're gonna make a couple drinks. We're gonna make a strawberry carrot orange juice. I think it's a great combo. So I'm gonna take some strawberries and I'm gonna use a juicer today. Just FYI, I'm gonna use my juicer. This is really old and I got it. It was one of the cheaper ones that I liked from reviews. I'll try to find something similar to link for you, but I'm not sure. But so what you don't have to do a juicer. Your options are, the hardest part of this is the carrot juice. That's why I like to pull out my juicer for it. You can blend up a carrot, like chop it up and put it with a little bit of water in a blender and blend it up really good and strain it out and use that for carrot juice. You can also, if you have one of those higher end grocery stores around, sometimes they have cold pressed carrot juice in their produce section where they have like naked juices, stuff like that. So you could try one of those. I'm sure something like Whole Foods or Earth Fare would also have that, but just other options for you if you don't have a juicer and don't want to buy one. And again, this is something you can alter the flavor to the level you like of each thing. I definitely like the carrot in this, but I don't like too much carrot. I don't want it to, carrot is actually stronger than you might think, and it's good, but it also overpowers other flavors, and I want to taste them all. This is just gonna be straight carrots, strawberries, and orange juice. That's all it is. Nothing complicated. I think I'm gonna use these two. I'm just gonna chop the ends, but these are washed already. I don't peel carrots when I'm putting them in juice. If they were store-bought, I would. You know my Hunger ones because they have more roots on them. So I'm gonna do this. Let me put you over here. All right, I'm gonna do the carrots. So I'm gonna do these strawberries first because softer fruit tends to push through better with a hard fruit or vegetable following it if you're new to juicing. So I'm gonna put a lot of these in, and I'm gonna use some of the brighter red ones, even some of the ones that are almost getting soft, great for juicing. Carrot, I'm just gonna fill up this. So we've got about a cup of strawberries. See how much juice that gives us. That's a good amount, okay. And I forgot I have to cut these. That's a normal sound, don't worry. Okay, and then oranges. Let me just do one. You could, of course, use regular orange juice from the store if you don't want to fresh squeeze it. I just like it in a juice for all of it to be fresh produce. And we're at that small window in the year where oranges are still in season. They're on their way out, but they're still there, so they're not that expensive and they're still good. And strawberries are coming in, so it's all good. Okay, I bought 2 oranges. Not sure if I'll need them both. It depends on the day, how much I use of strawberries and carrots and oranges in each one. It's not like a set recipe. I can write out for you what we do today, but because, you know, each time you taste an orange, it's slightly different from another one. It has a different sugar content. Same with the strawberries. The carrots are pretty consistent. That's about all that is. Let's drip it right there. I'm gonna mix this in, and I'm gonna stir it. I'm gonna taste it. This is how I do all my juices. I don't really have recipes. I just put flavors together, and then I'm like, I'll taste it and be like, okay, we're gonna have more of this or less of that. That's really good. I'm gonna add a little more strawberry juice. That was good though. It has plenty of orange, like you can taste it, but it's not overpowering. And the carrot is also good. Couple more strawberries. I'm gonna make it through all the recipes today, you guys. This was like, probably equaled out to about 4 or 5 pounds of strawberries that I started with today. I have to make the rest of the tacos for my family, so that's probably where the rest of those will go in fresh eating, but where's my button? I don't normally do it this way. I like to tip it just to get a last bit of juice out of there. Okay, I'm gonna mix it in. Cheers, that's good. So if you consider the gaps between the strawberries, there's probably a cup and a half of strawberries, 2 carrots, and 1 orange today. That's really good. The amount of antioxidants in this, crazy. All right, we're gonna take like 5 minutes to clear up some clutter, so I will see you back in a minute. We will taste those strawberry breakfast bars, and then we have one last recipe, a little bit of a cocktail. All right, I got as much into the dishwasher as I could fit for now. So we are ready to taste these oatmeal breakfast bars, and then we will do our last little thing. I like putting this in parchment because then I can just lift the whole thing out, which makes it a lot easier to cut. I'm not having to go in there and then dig the pieces out. Check out this beauty though. And the awesome, like this really could be a dessert, like a strawberry crumble, but it was originally thought of as like a breakfast bar recipe because there's way less sugar than a crumble would have, but it's still plenty sweet and delicious. Look at that. Lots of strawberry goodness, that good oat crust, nice and crisp. I think part of the reason I like to make things like this myself, as opposed to a restaurant or buying one pre-made, is because I like to taste the fruit in fruit things. Need water. Dry mouth from talking so much. I like to taste the fruit. I don't want it to be a sweet bar with an edge of strawberry. I want a strawberry bar. Same thing with lemon bars. I only make them at home because I can really crank up the lemon flavor. Lemon bars in stores are just always too sweet for me and not lemony enough. So all this fruit stuff I like to make at home so I can play up the flavor of the fruit and enhance it with the other flavors rather than just having something sweet with a little bit of fruit flavor to it. So highly suggest these. They are healthy enough to eat for breakfast, but could easily be a dessert that's just slightly less on the sweet side. So that one's awesome. All right, are you ready for our last recipe? Let's scoot this aside. All right, this is a cocktail. And this is, remember this was the berries that we chopped and sprinkled sugar on and mixed up and we just let it sit. It's probably been about half an hour. This I was thinking about for the strawberry recipe day, not only because it is a great recipe that I like, but I also thought it'd be great, this is like bridal shower season, you know? And it would be awesome to serve it if you have like one of those brunch bridal showers or something like that. It is very similar to a mimosa. Mimosa is orange juice and champagne, or it's also similar to a Bellini. We'll call it a strawberry Bellini. A regular Bellini has peach and champagne. We're gonna go strawberries and champagne. I'm actually gonna use Prosecco. I'm not a huge fan of champagne. I like the sweeter side of things too, but whatever you like, a sparkling wine, a Prosecco, a champagne, brut, sweet, however you go, that's what you wanna put in here, okay? So that is mine. So I have these, I had a cup of strawberries. All I did, you can see the juice in them. I didn't mash them, that's just what the sugar does. It macerates them, makes it release its juices. I'm gonna do a little squeeze of lemon. This is not like a strawberry lemonade cocktail. I don't want too much lemon flavor. And then I'm gonna use a little bit of vanilla bean paste. You can use vanilla. I've done this before, like squeezing out or scraping out like a vanilla bean. You would just need one for this recipe, not very much. So I'm gonna use because this is kind of concentrated, I'm just gonna use like half a teaspoon. I'm gonna mix all this up. This is really easy to make. And you can make this part ahead of time. So if you were doing a shower, you could totally have it prepped and ready to just pour at the event. Heck, a wedding even. So I'm just mixing this up and I'm gonna you can use a blender. I'm just gonna use my little stick blender. I already put my other little blender in the dishwasher and it's going. So I'm just gonna pull out the stick blender here and get it blitzed up. You can leave some chunks if you want, it's no big deal. Kind of goes well with it. Okay, so now it's like a liquid with chunks in it, and I think, you know what else would be great is frozen strawberries. So let me grab one of my frozen ones and see if I can cut it. So I cut it in fourths just to make a little bit there. Okay, so I'm just gonna put a couple of teaspoons in the bottom of this. Let me grab, you're gonna love this. Since I don't have much alcohol in my house, I had to go out and buy my Prosecco. Look at this cute little bottle, isn't it adorable? And of course I made a mess because that's how I roll. Whoa. I totally want a picture of that, dripping down the sides. while it's messy to drink, it's beautiful to watch. And it's as easy as that, something you could prep ahead. Delicious, light, and fruity. Very good, very great for spring and summer when the weather's warm. It's crisp, it's light, it's refreshing, it's pretty, it's easy, it's something you can make ahead. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed at least one of these strawberry recipes, and I hope to see you on the next video. Cheers!